right, to find out more, we're going to talk with her directly. Now she's with us this morning. Hello, Emanuela. Welcome to the C Morning Show.
Hi, good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Oh my God, you are so cool because, you are empowering indigenous youth community and especially for the Dayak tribes. So first of all, there's a lot of stigma that we know about indigenous communities and what Dayak stigma and stereotype that you are really concerned and you want to, you want to erase that and, some of the background story probably.
Right. Firstly, I really didn't expect that last video that we played, that makes me relax.
Surprise!
Right. Because I work a lot with youth, right? And it just gave me, the realization. So, okay, this is what I'm really doing, even though I'm not like really young anymore.
You are
But
young.
Anyway.
We're all young.
Me too.
Well, yeah. So, talking about the stigma, and I will say that these kind of misconceptions about the indigenous community, I think I will just speak about the youth first. Because as we know, like people will think that those who live not in the big city, like let's say they live in the villages, or maybe like they have different access to information or technology or any other like modern facilities, they kind of like being left behind. And I have to admit that we kind of experience that. Maybe we can say, for example, like Kalimantan and Papua, like two big islands, and we know what's happening in Indonesia after the colonializations.
Yeah.
That is two islands, like have these very rich natural resources, but not so much development, right? So it really affects the lives of the indigenous youth, like directly, like. So my mission is to empower young people, specifically indigenous youth, specifically the Dayak youth, to be able to, like not only adaptable to this modern technology, or let's say like society and whatever that we have around the world right now, but to really like bring themselves as a powerful individual that will make a change not only in part of this community but also to the like bigger communities. So that's the missions of Runaway Loan Foundation. My organization, we founded as an indigenous community in 2014, but then we developed as a foundations, and we have this vision to combine the modern technology with the indigenous knowledge as a tool to preserve the culture, to protect the forest, and also to fight for indigenous rights.
Amazing.
So we want to show the world indigenous youth are not powerless actually, but we are kind of.
Oh my God, I am goosebumps right here, Manuela. That is so powerful, amazing.
So, when we talk about regeneration of cultures, the youth, of course, plays a very important role. However, in our world today, especially with technology and everything, many seem to just forget where they came from and become the modern society.
Yeah.
Well, in your experience, what are the youth like? Are they willing to bring up their culture, or are they more easy to let go and be a modern society?
Like it's kind of tricky, and this kind of question is a question that I get a lot whenever I speak, because people have this concept of a native, of an indigenous in their head. They think if you are an indigenous, and then you have to first stay in the village. And then second, you need to wear like traditional or like customary outfit like in daily life. And then third, you should not be, like wearing anything like fashionable or like modern. That. So I will say this kind of concept is actually something that we want to change, because that's actually the colonizers' language. Because people will define the indigenous in their own way. But here, we are in the situations where, like I will say, we need to be adaptable, right? I mean, like not only the indigenous, but the non-indigenous, they have to be adaptable to everything in the world right
Yes,
now.
true.
So that's what we do whenever we as a Dayak youth, like we kind of exposed to modern technology, we're exposed to the education, and of course there is a influence from outside. And I have to admit that some people, maybe not only the Dayak, but maybe from other ethnic groups also, will kind of, feeling wanting to pursue that kind of modern lifestyle
Yeah,
rather
yeah.
than, like the traditional ones.
Yeah.
But I will say, actually, that's also one of our main missions that we want to say to the world that our exposure to modern technology, to education, it's not something that make us disconnected with our.
Yes.
Instead,
I got it.
That's right.
comes a weapon on our hands in our fight to build our communities, to make a better future for our next generation, and of course also to protect the environment, because indigenous people only less than 5% from the world populations,
Wow.
but they manage more than 80% of global biodiversity.
Yeah.
Wow.
So basically, you are walking together with the foundation, of course, with the community, the community members, between the wisdom from the indigenous, the wisdom, and you are combining it with modern technology.
Exactly.
How you achieve it so far? Is it working, or is there any regular activity that you are keep doing it with the community?
Right. So I mentioned that we started as indigenous filmmaking community, right? Why does so many people out there have these misconceptions about the Dayak communities? Because that's what they see in the media.
Yeah.
That's what they journal. That's what
how
they
the media
see,
frame the indigenous people, right?
Exactly. So we want to bring our own stories from our own perspective, and we want to decolonize by indigenous storytelling, specifically digital storytelling in forms
Nice.
of videos and films.
Yeah.
So just like what you show on the screen right now, it's some of our documentaries and our short videos where we bring the
Okay.
voices from the from our own perspective, like we want to show like, hey, this is the situations that we experience right now. It's not the community that destroy the environment, but the community is the one that protect the environment. And the Dayak people are not miserable, just like what you see, like the scary headhunters or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
It and like some people say, hey, don't marry Dayak girls because then you will not be able to.
Oh,
I know that kind of story. I visit Kalimantan several times, especially Pontianak, and they keep saying about that.
I've heard that before.
You have to be careful with the Dayak people.
That's a hard stereotype too. I bet that's one of your challenges, of course, to erase that stereotype. Now, give us an insight on the Dayak community that you know. What are their main challenges? Is it health or access in technology?
Education.
Right, actually, there are two main things. The big challenges that we face right now. First, I mentioned about how to decolonize through indigenous digital storytelling, right? And even until now, I still feel like the Dayak does not get enough, like place in the mainstream media. That's why we use the alternative one, Runaway Alone YouTube channel, and so on, and more exposure from mainstream media. It's only on the beautiful sides of the Dayak communities, like, hey, beautiful culture, beautiful outfit, beautiful people, beautiful, but they do not put the highlight on the struggles that indigenous communities here in Kalimantan facing. Right, that's the first thing. And the second one is the ecological disasters. As you know, we already have this forest fire since 1997, and it keeps happening every year. So it's over 2 decades, and even until now, we still have it, right? And in the past year, we faced this big, massive flood. No forest fire. Like in the dry season, we have forest fires, but in the rainy season, we have this massive flood. And until now, we urgency from government to declare the climate emergency, or really to do something to prevent that. People are suffering here. So this is the call to actions that I want to I want to say, I want to call out, right? Climate justice for Kalimantan. Once you see what's happening here, so it's not as really beautiful as what you see on the media. You
Yeah.
need to look deeper on
Yeah. So how do you counter the difficulties that you're facing with the community, especially when you're working, when you work together with the Dayak community, Emanuela?
So the first one I want to say here, I do not represent myself, and even I do not really represent my organizations. I represent my community.
Yeah.
Because the Dayak voices are rarely being heard, you
Yeah.
know, by mainstream medias or like a wider audience, global audience. So that's why here I'm speaking on behalf of them.
Yeah.
And I myself is a Dayak. I'm a pure Dayak blood.
Wow.
Amazing. You're the legend of Dayak tribe, right?
So I think the challenge, you know, like we do not really have the challenge like from the communities or like from outside. You know, it's really like you fight for your own people,
Yeah.
you fight for your own family, and you fight to protect your own home.
Wow.
So all these determinations gather here, and it gives us courage to go on.
Wow, we can feel the energy
You can,
from
totally.
here, all the way from Kalimantan
Yes,
here in the
yes.
studio. We can feel the energy,
That's
and
right.
we are totally support what you're doing, Emmanuel. Part of the Indonesia, right?
Of course.
Yeah.
So tell us about, we talked about, you talked about ecological disasters and everything. Tell us about how the indigenous community is actually the strongest people to actually take care of the environment. How strong is their role?
Sure. Yeah, this is something that I really expect the Indonesian government, you know, like to really understand. Because like all over the world right now, even in the green forums, you know, like COP26 last time, and many other international forums talking about the climate action and so on, people and world leaders started to acknowledge the role of indigenous communities in protecting the environment.
Yeah.
Rather than seeing the indigenous community only as a vulnerable groups that need to be protected, you know,
Preserve.
you need to see the indigenous communities
Yes.
as a potentials
Right.
to guard, to
Yeah.
protect the forest,
Yes,
because they manage like more than 80% of global biodiversity.
Right.
And right now we have this kind of situation in Kalimantan, which is not really good because the deforestations keep happening, and
Yeah.
and you know, like it increases like every year. So me and my community trying to make something, well, not only me, but there are so many indigenous communities, the local communities here that really do something on the ground, right in the front line of environmental battle.
Yeah.
And you got to support that, I said.
Yeah.
It's more than a project because we are really here, you know, like in the front line of environmental battle. We planted the tree, we extinguished the fire, so we do everything that we can do. So yeah, I guess people, especially government, need to be aware of it and not only aware but take immediate action.
Yeah. All right. Amazing. That's amazing, Emanuela. I mean, yeah, I am so agree with what you're saying about the best environmentalist, the best forest keeper, and they live within nature, and they're not just, you know, something that you know, indigenous people is not attraction only. It's not something part of the culture. They're part of a community. They can be, you know, inclusivity for indigenous. It's the same. It's part of Indonesia. Most probably they have the same role as we are. Right.
Even more.
Even
Yes,
more.
even more.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Emanuela, for stopping by with us this morning. Take care. Bye.
Wow.